The fire crackles in the grate. You can hear, though dimly, the sound of a clock ticking in the background. Like the fire, the clock is invisible. You cannot see the face, the hands, or the numbers at all. In that case, what is the clock ticking out? What is the clock ticking away? What is its function? Now, that is an interesting question. You wish to know about the clock? Lycoris tilts her head to one side. Her long, pale hair falls over her bare shoulders. Those sexy, pale shoulders. You wonder if she's cold dressed like that in such a gloomy, oppressive place. Then you decide there are other things worth asking. In all honesty, I am unsure myself. Time is not a linear concept here. It shifts and loops and doubles back on itself like threads through the eye of a needle. In fact, I have often been led to wonder whether time as a concept truly exists at all. If it did exist, then why have I remained the same, unchanging, for so many years? Her eyebrows furrow. But that, I suppose, is neither here nor there. There are some questions I cannot answer, no matter how deeply I think. And I believe I could use my mental faculties in a more productive manner. Like listening to the story? Lycor smiles. Indeed, you are an astute one. Welcome back! I'm Jaybird. It's now the introduction I need. Okay. Daffodil brushed a strand of hair behind the shell of her ear with a shaking finger. The rain continued to drum against the windows. Oh! Sorry. The moisture trickled slow, steady trails down the stained glass. Or as I would like to say, the stained ass. Sorry, too much? The stained ass. How long had it been raining? 4 hours? 5? What time was it anyway? The traveler's body was weary, but they could hardly sleep now. Not when Daffodil was so deeply lost in her own thoughts.
My father,
He caught in Daffodil's throat. It sounded like a sob when it escaped from her lips.
he wanted me to marry.
Oh! See, that's not as bad as what I was thinking earlier.
He wanted me to marry a man who could provide for me. A wealthy man. An old man.
Oh. What's wrong with old men? I mean, I wouldn't date an 80-year-old, but I mean, you know. Well, I mean, technically speaking, I still am underage. But hey! My birthday's in like 3 months. So, less than 3 months now. So, I mean, I'll be legal soon. I have no idea why I did that. Anyways, I'm joking, by the way. Like, God, no old men for me. That's gross. That's nasty. Nasty.
Keep the penises in your pants, please. I'm 18.
I'm not 18.
I'm 17, but I'm almost 18, so keep your nasty dicks in your pants, please. This is a family-friendly channel.
She shivered. The traveler had never known Daffodil could look so vulnerable. Daffodil's story resumed. God, I'm tired. Of living? I'm just kidding. The Duke. The Duke. Did you like how I said that? The Duke. The Duke was in his 40th or 50th year at least. He had withered hands, sunken eyes, and a low voice that made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. He had been married twice before, and both his wives had succumbed to mysterious illnesses. I'm not saying he killed them. He was too rich to bother with such crimes. Okay, thanks for saying that. But perhaps merely being married to him was enough to drain one of their strength. In any case, I could not get married to such a person. I refused.
Refuse.
I ran as far and as fast as I could. I sold some of my possessions and I left. I did not look back. The journey was rather difficult and I did not know where I was going. I had never strayed far from my home before, and I must have been quite the easy target for pickpockets and bandits. I suppose I have myself to blame for what happened, being so unworldly. I was swindled by a goblin. It is much the same as your story, really. They said they would take me to Tatton, where I could start a new life for myself. But they didn't. They took my money and possessions and abandoned me by the roadside. All I had were the clothes on my back and the blood in my veins. Did you still have your virginity there, or your body? Because I mean, a bunch of veins and blood in clothes is some place that you don't have that much left. That's just a big pile of spaghetti. Big pile of spaghetti. Listen close, but a nice pile of spaghetti. Human vein spaghetti.
And the blood is the sauce.
I hate my fucking chair because my hair keeps getting caught in it. And it's like, oh, I ripped some hair out. Oh, ripped some hair out. Oh, ripped some hair out. Oh. Ugh, it hurts. I was so scared. I walked and walked, but I had no idea where I was, and I thought I was going to die. Well, that's a little bit dramatic. I wandered and wandered, getting wearier and wearier, and I even started to think it might be better to be married to the Duke. Even if marrying the Duke would kill me, at least that would be more dignified death, surrounded by servants in a four-poster bed. That is what I thought, until I found this church. There was nobody in the church other than Madeline. At that time, she was the only sister. This church attracts people, you see, but they don't stay. For the longest time, I do not know how long, Madeline was the only person here. She tended to the church on her own and gave alms to those who asked, but they did not tarry. They took advantage of her hospitality, bled the funds of the church dry, then departed. But I decided to stay. She was all I had. She had done so much for me, I wanted to give her something in return. It isn't an exaggeration to say, I really do love her. Aw. Gross. I mean, not gross, it's cute. I mean, it's gross and cute, but whatever. We'll keep going with it. You little lesbian.
Well, my story ends there.
There isn't any more?
There is more, but it involves Madeline, and I don't want to recount it.
She helped you?
She gave me food and drink and a place to stay, and even more besides. She gave me kindness when I needed it, though I did not deserve it. I was rather standoffish back then, and thought, foolishly, I was too good for her. Hair flip.
Finger snap. Yawning like the fucking bitch that I am, because I can't fucking stop yawning! I'm tired! Tired of this bullshit! Fuck.
I had been horribly spoiled.
Stop saying that word, it's starting to get gross.
But that was 3 years ago. I'm a different person now.
You have been living with Madeline for 3 years?
It's right. 3 years. Just the two of us.
We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. I'm not really singing it correctly, but I don't care. You won't tell me about it?
It's private. You don't need to know, and you wouldn't understand.
What, did she finger you and you finger her and you're like, you're not you just lost your virginity with my finger. You can't be a holy nun anymore. I wish that would happen. Someone draw that for me. Actually, fuck it, I'll draw it. I always say that I'm gonna draw stuff, but I never actually do. I'm such a great person. That was probably true. Truly, Madeline and Daffodil had been drawn together, two lost and lonely souls who needed one another. If they had one another, they did not need anyone else. They had managed to survive together for 3 years. That was an impressive feat in and of itself. No wonder Daffodil had been so wary of the traveler. They were an unwanted interloper. If you can make a perfect world with 2 people, why introduce a third? It did not make sense. Still, the traveler was curious, and they wanted to understand. They doubted they could fully grasp the depth of their relationship, never having cared about anything so deeply themselves, but they could at least try. Does that mean you care for one another?
It's more than simply caring. If I had not met her, I would have died. I owe her my life.
But what of Lady Madeline?
Huh? What about her?
The goddess, you know. The entity up there, somewhere. The traveler pointed up towards the ceiling, but maybe that wasn't right. Maybe Lady Madeline existed everywhere, in the air, in the earth, and the sea. The traveler did not know. They were not familiar with the doctrine of cannibalism that you are supposed to serve.
Oh, that, well.
Daffodil snorted. She did not look particularly impressed by the traveler's question. Coming from a nun, it was a touch insensitive.
I was not raised in a religious family. My father worshipped the memory of my mother and money.
We've got to have money.
I do not believe in cannibalism because I was never taught to.
Yet you became a nun?
In appearance, perhaps, but it's more for Madeline's sake. I thought she might appreciate the gesture.
Does that mean you're lying to her?
I'm not lying. She knows how I feel about religion. It is our one point of connection, actually. She keeps trying to convert me. I wish she couldn't. I wish she wouldn't.
I'm sure she does it because she cares about you.
I know she does, but that is why I cannot believe in Lady Madeline. Lady Madeline could never have done as much for me as the flesh and blood human Madeline has.
Yes, the flesh and blood. Anyways, and that is proof she does not exist?
If there is proof, I would like to see it. I don't believe in things I can't see.
What a materialist.
I am the daughter of a merchant. What do you expect?
True.
I don't know why you're trying to argue with the toss with me. You're also a merchant, and you come from Preline. They worship different deities there.
Guilty as charged.
I thought so. You're not passionate enough to sway me, and I don't like you enough to hold your opinion in high esteem.
The traveler laughed, amused by Daffodil's bluntness, and bowed their head. Thank you, I appreciate your honesty.
I am always honest.
Except with her feelings. Are you honest when you masquerade as a nun?
It isn't a masquerade. I became a nun, not to serve some divine being I can't see, but to serve Madeline. If I worship anything, it's her.
The traveler sighed deeply. In all the years, they had never encountered such a pure, innocent, unselfish declaration of love. Cute. Though the traveler's only experience with love came in glass vials sold to desperate goblins. God, not this shit again. And dwarves, the strength of Daffodil's feelings was unquestionable. She really did love Madeline. It was so blindingly apparent it almost took the traveler's breath away. Almost, but not quite. The night passed without further event. The traveler was able to snatch a few hours' worth of sleep on the wooden pew, curled up inside their damp cloak. They did not know if Daffodil had stayed with them throughout the night. The traveler would not blame her if she hadn't. Madeline had asked Daffodil to keep them company, but what company could one give to somebody who was asleep? And so the new day dawned. The inky black night was swept away by the sun, and so were the rain clouds. They seemed to disperse with the first shy rays of sunshine, as though the torrential downpour from last night had been a mere mirage. Now the traveler found themselves standing by the entrance of the church, their cloak wrapped tightly about them like a protective shroud. Madeline and Daffodil stood there, fussing over their newfound companion. Or rather, Madeline was fussing. Daffodil, as was in keeping with her character, kept her distance.
Are you really sure you'll be alright? Did you get enough sleep last night?
I'll be fine, I promise.
And are you sure you'll be able to find your way? It's easy to get lost in these moors.
Don't worry so much. I am a traveler. Traveling is what I do. It's what I do.
Yes, and you very nearly traveled your way into an early grave last night.
If the traveler had not been wearing their cloak, they would have stuck their tongue out at Daffodil for her unwanted commentary. What a snotty little chit. Chit? It sounds like shit, but with chit. I thought that said clit at first. I'm like, what? Does that say clit? That snotty little clit? But I'm like, what? Thank God it doesn't say clit. What's a chit? What's a chit? I feel like I'm saying shit, but it doesn't come out right. What the fuck? Chit. Chit. A short official note, memorandum, or voucher typically recording a some ode. Oh. It's another word. It's a derogatory British word too. A young woman regarded with disapproval for her immaturity or lack of respect. A mere chit of a girl. Also, cause a potato to sprout by placing it in a cool, light place. She's a potato! I'm just kidding. What a snotty little chit. Well, given her upbringing, a bit of snottiness made sense. She had, for the vast majority of her life, been ever wealthier than a princess. Had been even wealthier than a princess. Fuck. I may have run into some minor hiccups last night, but it should be fine now. It isn't raining anymore and the sun is shining. It's perfect weather for a stroll.
I just hope you'll be able to make it to Castilla in time.
I've already missed my chance to set up my stall today, but I can accept my losses. I'd rather be a few gold coins out of pocket than lying dead in a ditch.
I too think that is fair. You wouldn't have been in this predicament if you hadn't been so foolish.
Well, I know that now. Next time I'll be sure to stop and wonder what Daffodil would do before I would come to any rash decisions.
Oh my, what did you two talk about last night? It sounds as though you rather hit it off. Me? Hit it off with him? There's no way! We didn't hit it off at all! But there was a nice atmosphere between the two of you. It's just your imagination. I could never care for an idiot like this. Really, you're reading too much into it.
That's right. She spent most of last night insulting me and my business choices. It was quite depressing.
That's because your business choices are filthy. Filthy? Now I really am curious. It's nothing you need to know about Madeline. Don't ask. Seriously, don't ask. Aw, but if you tell me not to ask, I'm willing to ask even more.
I would be more than happy to elucidate. When one goblin loves another goblin very much. Daffodil clapped her hand against the traveler's mouth.
Don't you dare say that creepy stuff to Madeline! Don't defile her! How would the traveler defile me? It's something you don't need to know about. If the snake tempts you with the fruit of knowledge, you should leave it be. All right then. If my innocence is on the line, I suppose I can leave it for now. Good. Honestly.
Daffodil removed her hand from the traveler and winced, wiping it down the front of her gown. I'm not diseased, you know.
Your line of business, you might be. In your line of business, you might be.
I'm not a prostitute. I just sell wares that...
And that's enough of that! What is your problem?
Daffodil clamped her hands on her hips. Her face beat red. It was cute, really, how huffy she was. Maybe this awkwardness was to be expected, given her cloistered upbringing. The traveler looked at Madeline. Madeline looked at the traveler. Then together... The two of them began to giggle.
Hey! What are you laughing about? Don't leave me out!
Yes, a new day had truly dawned. The sky had never looked more beautiful and blue. Aw, goodbye. The end. Achievement unlocked, Daffodil. Cool. Okay. Okay, thank you. Hurry up. I don't have all day. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. You'll never know. What happened to the clock?
Ah, so we reached a happy ending. Perhaps we are finally getting somewhere.
But first of all,
Where are my manners? Jaybird, would you care for a spot of peppermint tea?
oh, I would love some peppermint tea. You fluster. You did not expect Lycoris to ask you a question so suddenly, particularly after the story concluded itself so neatly. Lycoris' smile, however, is soft and gentle. You thought she would be more eager to press on, delving even deeper into the depths of this tale. Perhaps she, too, has grown tired of the narrative. Maybe she also wants to take a break. You wouldn't mind a refill, but you don't want to inconvenience her.
It is no trouble at all. Look.
Lycoris snaps her fingers. As if tied by an invisible ribbon, the teapot hovers in the air. It rotates itself, tipping forth, and a stream of warm liquid falls like a fountain into your waiting cup. You blink. Is it magic?
Of course not. I cannot perform magic. I am no magician. This library is governed by my will, that is all. I've been here so long, the environment responds accordingly to my wishes. Unfortunately, I cannot control the stories within the books. They're not like the tea set.
You frown. Does she know who wrote those stories?
Oh, there are far too many. It's hard to keep track of. Perhaps I did know once, but...
The steam from the freshly poured peppermint tea flits through the air, gauzy and ephemeral. It coils in the air, making indistinct shapes and patterns, just like reaching hands, extended figures, the refined movements of a ballet dancer.
I have long since forgotten.
You sigh, leaning back in your chair. If you knew who the writer was, perhaps you could learn how best to traverse through this maze of ever-shifting storylines without getting lost. But that is idle fancy. You are not afforded such luxuries. How can you play detective when you do not even know your own name? That's enough for now. Pretty sure. Oh yeah, definitely. That's enough for now.
Now that is a pity. If you leave now, your tea will go cold.
You pause, caught by indecision. You didn't realize, mostly because you weren't thinking, but asking to take a break now could be construed as rather rude. After all, Lycoris did just pour you a cup of tea. Well, fuck you! I can make my own tea at home! Or the teapot did. You were not entirely sure how things work around here.
Don't look so worried. It's quite all right. I understand if my tea is not to your liking. I will simply need to find a new blend to see whether that
that meets your approval. Now, do not linger any longer. Well, fine. Fuck you too.
If you wish to pause, you should pause. The story will always be moving.
Okay. 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 Well, guys, that's gonna be it for this episode of Once on a Windswept Night. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode and would like to see more of this game, then leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell, and remember, die safely. Bye-bye!